Japan is building something that will completely change global transportation forever, and almost nobody is talking about it. In 2026, Japan's next-generation maglev system has already achieved test speeds of 603 kilometers per hour, making it the fastest rail technology ever recorded. This single project is expected to cut travel time between Tokyo and Nagoya from 90 minutes down to just 40 minutes. The total investment is estimated at over $72 billion USD, making it one of the most expensive rail projects in human history. More than 40 million passengers per year are expected to shift from air and road travel to this system once fully operational. But here's the real question. Why is Japan building a train that doesn't just improve travel, but completely redefines it?
A country that never stops reinventing transportation. It introduced the world's first bullet train in 1964, and back then, it completely changed global expectations of rail travel. But what most people don't realize is this: Japan never stopped improving that idea. While other countries built faster trains on wheels, Japan started removing wheels completely. And that's where things become interesting. Because instead of improving friction-based systems, Japan decided to eliminate friction entirely using magnetic levitation. No wheels touching tracks, no mechanical resistance, just floating trains moving through magnetic force. And that shift is what makes this project unlike anything the world has seen before.
The science of a floating train. The system is called SC Maglev, and it is not an upgrade of the bullet train. It is a complete replacement of how trains work. Instead of wheels, the train uses superconducting magnets cooled to extremely low temperatures. These magnets interact with coils embedded inside the track. When electricity flows through those coils, it creates a magnetic field that lifts the train about 10 centimeters above the ground. At that moment, something incredible happens. The train is no longer touching anything physically. There is zero friction between train and track. Only magnetic propulsion pushes it forward. That is why Japan's L0 series maglev has already reached 603 kilometers per hour in testing, officially becoming the fastest train ever recorded on Earth. To understand how extreme that is, that speed is higher than most commercial aircraft during certain phases of flight. And unlike planes, this system runs on ground infrastructure.
The $70 billion mega project. Now let's talk about scale. This is not a small upgrade to Japan's rail system. This is a full national infrastructure redesign. The Chuo Shinkansen maglev line is expected to cost around 11 trillion yen, $68 to $72 billion USD. It will connect Tokyo, Nagoya, and eventually Osaka. The first operational phase will connect Tokyo to Nagoya over 286 kilometers of track, with around 90% of the route running underground. That alone shows how complex the engineering challenge is. Because this is not just about laying tracks, it's about building tunnels through mountains, cities, and seismic zones. But the reward is massive. Travel time between Tokyo and Nagoya will drop to around 40 minutes instead of 90. And when the full system reaches Osaka, Japan will effectively create one continuous mega region connecting over 60 million people. That is not transportation improvement. That is economic restructuring. And what makes Japan's transport revolution even more shocking is the speed of its technological adoption curve. In 2026, over 78% of Japan's major intercity corridor planning budgets are now allocated toward high-speed rail expansion and next-generation mobility systems, showing a national shift away from conventional transport infrastructure. The maglev network alone is expected to handle more than 40 to 45 million passengers annually by the mid-2030s, while reducing.
Why Japan needs this system? At first, people ask a simple question. Why spend over $70 billion on a train when airplanes already exist? The answer is long-term survival planning. Japan has one of the oldest populations in the world. It also has heavily congested transport corridors and aging infrastructure.
The existing Shinkansen system is still world-class, but it is reaching its physical limits after decades of operation. So instead of upgrading a system that is already maxed out, Japan is building a parallel system from scratch. A system designed not for today, but for the next 100 years. And this is important, because unlike roads or airports, maglev systems require extremely precise long-term engineering stability. That means once built, they become national assets for generations. The impact on air travel. Now, here's where things get even more interesting. Because this system doesn't just compete with trains, it competes directly with aviation. Right now, short-distance flights between major cities like Tokyo and Osaka are extremely common. But when travel time drops to under 1 hour by ground transport, air travel loses its advantage. Because airports require check-in time, security, boarding, and delays. A maglev system requires none of that. You simply arrive, board, and travel at 500+ km/h speeds. Experts estimate that millions of passengers per year could shift away from domestic flights once the system becomes fully operational. That means less congestion at airports, less fuel consumption, and a major shift in how airlines operate inside Japan. The global technology gap. Japan has been working on maglev technology since the 1960s. Decades of research have gone into refining superconducting levitation systems. And today, the L0 series represents nearly the peak of that evolution. While most high-speed rail systems globally operate between 250 350 km/h, Japan's experimental system is already achieving almost double that in testing. And this is where the gap becomes visible. Most countries are improving existing rail networks. Japan is rebuilding physics. Because when friction is removed from transportation systems, speed becomes a secondary limitation. Engineering becomes the only limit.
Environmental advantage. There is another side to this project that is often overlooked: energy efficiency. Compared to aviation, maglev systems are significantly more efficient per passenger for medium-distance travel. They run on electricity, which means they can integrate into renewable energy systems over time. Japan has already stated that reducing carbon emissions is part of the long-term strategy behind this project. And this matters globally, because transportation accounts for a large share of emissions in developed economies. So if systems like this expand, they don't just change travel speed, they change environmental impact at scale. What this means for the future. Now, zoom out for a moment. If cities like Tokyo, Nagoya, and Osaka become connected within 1 hour of travel, what happens? Workforce mobility increases dramatically. People can live in one city and work in another daily. Companies can expand operations across regions without relocation costs. Housing markets shift because distance becomes irrelevant. Economists often describe this as the creation of a super city corridor, and Japan may become the first country to fully implement this model in real life.
Delays and reality check. But this is not a simple success story. The project has faced delays due to environmental concerns and construction challenges. Recent updates suggest the opening has been pushed to the 2030s or even mid-2030s, depending on regional approvals and tunneling progress. That shows something important. Even for a country as advanced as Japan, projects of this scale take decades to complete. Because they are not just engineering problems, they are geological, financial, and political challenges combined. So when people hear about Japan building a new train system, that description is no longer accurate. What Japan is actually building is a completely new transportation reality. One where trains float instead of roll, where cities connect in minutes instead of hours, and where distance starts losing meaning altogether. And the most interesting part is this. This system is not experimental anymore. It is under construction. It is real. And it is coming. So if you enjoyed this deep dive into Japan's maglev revolution, make sure to subscribe for more documentaries like this. Because the future of transportation is no longer theoretical. It is being built right now, at 603 km/h.